new phone recently, and I was just using this little plug-in microphone on there, and apparently didn't go to plan. So, yeah. Anyway, we move on rather than being, what's the phrase I heard the other day? Rather than being a architect of our past, we will be a pioneer of our future. I think that's right. Basically, don't dig in the past. Move forward and create a new and bright future. Hence why I'm using a ruler to hold the microphone. And it saves holding my fingers, which then makes a racket. Right, so I'm going to get into today's video. It is a review of the Premier League season. Just reviewing each team, giving my thoughts on how they did and how their season ended. It won't be too long, but it'll be long enough for 2 parts. And these will probably be the last videos we do on football for a little while. We will cover some transfer rumours and done deals, but other than that I will be concentrating on different videos. So we're going to learn about basketball together and baseball, which are 2 American sports I have been betting on recently. We're going to talk about Disney, because I've got Disney Plus at the minute, and I'm watching that much good stuff on there, like TV show wise. I've finally got into Marvel TV shows. Really enjoying Daredevil and Jessica Jones. So I'm going to have a talk about all that stuff. But today, Premier League review, like I said, we have a coffee on. Ignore that around there. I've just turned the cup around and that was the coffee I've just been drinking is on the side of the cup. Anyway, let's get into it. We start off at the bottom and work our way up. So bottom of the table, Norwich City. Okay, what can you say about Norwich? I felt they were right to get rid of their manager, whose name escaped me the other day, and it does again now, the German guy, funny hair. I did feel it was time for him to go, because what was the future with him? You go back down, you come back up, you go back down, you come back up, which is great if you're Norwich. They don't mind going down, coming up, over and over. Sorry everybody, just to save some space on the phone, I've had to adjust the quality of the video, I'm afraid. Hopefully it's not too noticeable. Okay, as I was saying, it's all well and good going up and then back down again, but I'm sure the club and the fans would like to see them have a fighting chance of staying up next time, and I believe under Dean Smith they'll have that. He came up with Villa. Did he get promotion with Brentford to the Championship? I might be right, I might be wrong on that. He's a very capable manager. I mean, overall, did they have much chance of staying up? The best players that they had, that they brought in, were Brandon Williams and Billy Gilmore in terms of quality and what we knew about them. Then they had that big lump, the American bloke, Josh. What the hell's his name now? He just looked bloody useless to me whenever I seen him on the ball. Pookie, he's never going to score enough goals. I mean, I think he got 11 goals to be fair to him, but he's never going to get enough because the rest of the team don't add. They don't also supply goals, so it's basically left to him every time they come up to keep them up, which he can't do on his own. I mean, the keeper's 70 now, isn't he? The Dutch lad, the one who was brought on for Holland in the penalty shootout at the World Cup, was it under Van Gaal? So yeah, I don't know. Tim Krul, that's what I was thinking of. Overall, so let's give these teams a score, which I didn't do the other day, so out of 10. I mean, you bear in mind Todd Cantwell is 2-3 seasons ago in the Premier League was their best performer, or one of their best 2-3 performers, and they let him go out on loan this season because his form just dropped off. Bournemouth have declined to take up the 30 million quid or whatever it is transfer fee. Don't blame them. It's just a case of he got a bit too big for his boots basically, same as Man United. So Watford started off with the bloke who I'll never remember his name, a little short guy. He then left. They brought in Claudio Ranieri. Why? I know there's an Italian connection there. I'm not sure if Ranieri managed Udinese, who's owned by the Pozzos, the Watford owners, in the past. We seen Ranieri come in, and he was always going to be a failure. Not he's a failure as a manager, but I mean to keep that Watford side up. I know they brought in Musa Sissoko from Tottenham. Emmanuel Dennis, I'd never heard of him before he came to Watford, and early on he ended up in my fantasy football team because he was doing pretty well. Ismail Sarr, I think his form just completely went off the radar. But there are a couple of sellable assets at least. Sarr and Dennis. There are one or two of us in there that can bring in a bit of money for. I might try and keep hold of them all. They might try and bring in a bit of money for those couple of players, or they might try and keep hold of them, with the idea being better to have them in the Championship than not. I don't expect Watford to come back up straight away, in all honesty. I think there are better teams in the Championship next season than what Watford will be, considering they only got a manager, because Ranieri left in, he got the sack, and they brought in Roy Hodgson, who had done a reasonable job with what's her name, Palace, keeping them up at least. But at Palace he had players like Gary Cahill, Scott Dan, Wilfred Zaha, Benteke, etc. At Watford, I couldn't name half of their team. No chance in hell could I. Overall, I'll give Watford a 3. They're getting less than Norwich, because at least Norwich had an idea what they were doing. They got rid of the manager, brought in Smith, long-term thinking. Watford is just like, right, who can we get in next? Who can we get into the end of the season? I know they've already announced their new manager. It is the former Crawley manager. I want to say it is. I could be completely wrong on that score. I know it's a manager from further down the table, down the leagues, and that might be good. A young English manager. You hope for his sake he gets the chance to do something there, because what's his name tried his luck, didn't he? They're moving up. The Luton manager, he went to Stoke. It didn't last like more than half a season before he was out on his arse. So for the lad who's gone in at Watford, you hope he gets a chance and can hit the ground running. But yeah, 3 for Watford. Next we have Burnley. Some of you will know on here that I have a soft spot for Burnley. I used to go and watch them as a kid occasionally. A friend of the family was a big fan, so we'd go and watch them when I went to the old Wembley to watch them. Now I backed Burnley in a bet on Sunday. I backed them stupidly to beat Newcastle. I thought Burnley would stay up and Leeds would go down. Bloody need a haircut, man, Christ. Yeah, I liked Burnley for the win. So imagine my disgust and surprise when I checked at half time these stats. Leeds had a fair few shots on goal. You know, they're in the Premier League, they want to stay in the Premier League. They were attacking away at Brentford, which is a hard place to go. Ask a lot of Premier League teams. Burnley were at home to Newcastle. Newcastle were already safe. Bloody hell. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is out for 8 months following knee surgery. Wonder if we'll see him back again, I don't know. Burnley hadn't had a shot by 40 minutes. Either they'd had one shot or they'd had no shots, I can't remember exactly now. That was by the 40-minute mark, which is just flipping bonkers. You are trying to stay in the Premier League and you can only manage 1 40 minutes. Or it might have been 0 shots. What the hell is that all about? So right there now, that deserves to go down. You're a Premier League team, try and stay in the Premier League at home in front of your own fans, and you can't muster up more than 1 shot in a first half of football. Disgraceful. I feel sorry for the fans. Players will be stripped out of the club. Weghorst, I think, do a very good job for a team in the bottom half of the Premier League. In the right team, he'll be a handful. I'd put him in the Leicester side. I'd put him in the Southampton team. I would put him in even in the Newcastle side instead of Chris Wood. Where else could he go and do a good job? Teams have gone on. Bournemouth, yeah, definitely. Forest if they go up. He could go into the Leeds side and do a good job. He's a very good striker, Weghorst, and he showed that at times for Burnley. Just didn't get the rub of the green or have the players around him to support him. Jack Cork is another one who could walk into many Premier League sides in the bottom half of the table, easily. Ben Mee is on his way out. Tarkowski apparently on his way to Villa. Nick Pope will go maybe to West Ham or somebody like that. I'm not sure who it'll be who comes in for Nick Pope. Maybe a Newcastle United if they can't get Henderson. I would not be surprised to see him at Newcastle. Nick Pope next season. But yeah, Dwight McNeil will go. Maxwell Cornet, what a signing he was. Their best player by far. Scored their goal against Newcastle on Sunday. He could get into a top 10 side easy. Walks into Leicester side. West Ham side, I reckon. Newcastle. Arsenal maybe. I'd say Maxwell Cornet would be a good fit for Arsenal myself. He's a very, very good player, and I think it's like 13 million quid or something silly. Great bit of business for Burnley if they can then make money on him. But Burnley's season, I don't know, started with Dyche, ended with Mike Jackson. Talking about Vincent Kompany coming in, really weird decision for him more than the club. This Vincent Kompany, who has no experience at all of the Championship, never played there, never managed there. I don't know, if they'd stayed in the Premier League I could understand them giving Kompany the job. With the Championship, no, I can't understand that at all. But I'll give Burnley a 4. Yeah, 4. They should have been good enough, that team should have been way good enough to stay up. So, they get 4 overall from me. Next, it should be Leeds United, isn't it? Let's have a little look. Yes, Leeds United, who finished 3 points ahead of Burnley in the end. I mean, fair play to them. They went to Brentford, a tough place to go, and got the win. They needed a win. They got the win. They stayed up. They showed Burnley how to do what Burnley have been doing for like the last 4 or 5 years. With a very average side, this Leeds side is not that good on paper. Rafinha, really good. Calvin Phillips on his day, great, but he had a lot of them days this season. He's had a lot of injuries, I know that. Bamford, out pretty much all season, give or take. Hardly scored a goal. Dan James, always flat to deceive, as I found out at United. Who else? The lad at the back, the centre back that's been there for the last good few years. He's alright when you first come up, and if he's good enough to stick it out long term. The Scottish bloke, I forget his name now. Luke Ayling, maybe they could do an upgrade on him. Firpo's been a bit of a flop. I'm always surprised by Melier, how he's a Premier League first choice keeper, then I see him pull some great saves. Fair play to him on that. Jack Harrison has been linked with Newcastle Newcastle, but I don't see it happening. They're just about to announce a deal for Brennan Aronson, I think his name is, from RB Salzburg, I believe. Looks like that deal will be going through sooner rather than later. The next couple of days, like 28 million they're talking about. I mean, I don't know anything about him other than what I've read. That he's going for 28 million quid, and his name's Aronson, and he played for RB Salzburg. That's all I know. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, if he can improve Leeds or not. But yeah, overall, Leeds United, the fact they stayed up, they had Bielsa in charge, got rid, they brought in, what's his face, Jesse Marsh, who is very much, his Americanisms can get a bit irritating, but oh well, he is American, what can you do about it? And don't forget, he was the RB Leipzig manager and the RB Salzburg manager, so he will know a bit about this lad Aronson, having probably coached him in the past. Pardon me. But yeah, I would say Leeds United overall, I'd be looking at giving them a, what are we looking at here? I'm going to give them a 5. Pretty about average all season, and then did enough under Jesse Marsh to stay up. So I'm going to give them a 5. We're going in the right direction. The scores are going up a little bit now. Right, but now they're about to go back down. We've got Everton in 16th place. I'm going to go with the score first. I'm going to give Everton a 1. End of. They get a 1. When you have Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Yerry Mina, Jordan Pickford, Michael Keane, Luca Digne for the first half of the season, Seamus Coleman, Decore, Alan, Richarlison, who else did they have there? Donny van de Beek for half a season, Dele Alli for half a season. Just very good players. And you start the season with James Rodriguez in at the club at least until they sent him away. They signed the young lad Patterson from Rangers, hardly gets a game. They brought in Mikolenko, the left back from Ukraine, to replace Gdynia. Basically, to put it lightly, that team should have been easily good enough to finish between 12th and 9th, in my opinion, on paper. Start the season with Rafa, which I think we all knew was a bad mistake. I mean, we could hear, people who don't have anything to do with Liverpool content with Everton fans having an ex-Liverpool manager in charge, etc. So, it was always going to end in tears, that appointment. Then they brought in Frank Lampard, a man who apparently turned down the Norwich job because, I don't know, maybe he didn't want to live in Norwich, or he felt it was below him, even though he went for an interview for the job. Yeah, I feel that Everton showed their true colours, so they got the win against Palace at home. They won 3-2. They also beat Chelsea, 2 results which ultimately kept them in the Premier League. The last game of the season, a game where there's no pressure on your players, you're guaranteed staying up. Go out. The fans have no stress at all. The fans have been stressing out for about 2, maybe 3 months, like, oh god, this is not good. We could go down here, what's the future? We'll be visiting buddy Rotherham next season, or Man City. There's no pressure on them fans, and there's no pressure on the players. And what happens? They can't get absolutely battered by Arsenal 5-1 away. How the hell do you do that? Your fans have been there all the way, supporting you, cheering you on, and then in the last game of the season, when you could go out, give the fans something to cheer for, and be happy and enjoy their football viewing experience, you managed to get battered 5-1, and after Lampard basically said, well, the score is the score. promotion for 4th. Fair play to them. We'll get onto Arsenal in a bit. But Everton, that was embarrassing. So they get a 1. 15th we have Southampton. Ralph Hasenhuttl, the only Ralph left in the Premier League now. Ranić left his job as United manager. I liked some of their signings. Livramento, really good signing. Brozier looked half decent at times, not every game, but at times. Armstrong, I think he was found wanting, the former Blackburn striker. Sorry guys. Obviously they'd lost Danny Ings going into the season. Ward-Prowse kept popping up with his free kicks and being linked with moves away and goal up for the England team, etc, etc. Fraser Forster, is apparently on his way to Tottenham now. I think Southampton will miss him massively. He'll be a backup. What's his name? Did really well though, didn't he? What's his name? Former Tottenham fullback. Oh my god, I'm gonna kick myself. How can I forget? Right, let me get the Southampton team up. I should bloody know this lad. I spoke about him enough times. Let's have a look. So it helps if I could type in Southampton. Here we go. Southampton FC. Where's your name, you bugger? So I know they had Shea Adams. He carried on doing alright. Walcott was where? He's apparently on his way to America. That's what we're hearing. Salisu, a little bit of scenery weren't too bad. Elyounoussi is still there. Walker Peters, that's what I was thinking of. Walker Peters has been brilliant at times this season, and considering considering Southampton lost Vestergaard at the end of last season. He went to Leicester, obviously. I mean, a lot of people were saying he should get the sack. A lot of Southampton fans were calling for Arsenal to get the sack, but I don't know, what do they really expect? When you looked at it on paper, it was pretty bad. I didn't see this until recently. I did this video the other day. So, Southampton only won 9 games. When your fans are going home and away for 38 games and they're only seeing 9 wins, that isn't great. But I don't know if the future is any brighter with this sacking. I'm going to give him a 5 overall. Villa 14th, Steven Gerrard came in, a lot of promise. That's all you can really say. I mean, they backed him. Luca Digne came in January. Coutinho came in January. Rob Holding came in January. They start the season with signs like Buendia. Leon Bailey's been a big flop, and Buendia, to be honest. Danny Ings has also been a flop, so they're 3 big signings. None of them hit the ground running this season, so they have been let down by their transfers, to be fair. There's Mings there, Martinez, Matty Cash. They lost Grealish, obviously, but I don't think the season would have gone much different for Villa if Grealish had been there. Not a great deal different anyway. Maybe his season would have been, because obviously he wouldn't have a Premier League title, but he would have played a lot more than he has at City. So I'm going to go. I think Villa can improve. They've already signed Boubacar Kamara, who I've heard a lot about. They're on the verge apparently of signing. Who was the other one they've been linked with? Boubacar Kamara. Luis Suarez has been linked, as has James Tarkowski, apparently on his way on a free transfer. So if they get Tarkowski, Suarez, and they've already got Kamara in, and all of them are free transfers, that is pretty bloody impressive. And they got Coutinho on a permanent for like 8 million quid. So, player-wise, business-wise, I'd give them a 9. Form-wise, the way they performed this season under Gerrard, had since he came in. I'm going to give him a 5. I don't think they've smashed anyone. They've not been brilliant. They could have won the league for Liverpool on Sunday and threw away 2-0 lead away at City. Yeah, I'm giving him a 5. Brentford in 13th. Score-wise, let's give them a respectable 7. They finished 13th, so not in the top half of the table. But they started the season brilliant. They beat Arsenal first game of the season. Their first game ever in the Premier League beat Arsenal. Ivan Toney and Buemo. Who else did they got in there? Christopher Shea. Ericsson obviously goes without saying. The lad who scored the other day, I forget his name now, the left back. It's a very solid team. David Raya in goal. I really like what they do there. Christian Norgard as well, very good player. I like Brentford a lot. I think Thomas Frank has done a great job. Hardly any, I don't think there's like any experience at all of the Premier League apart from Ericsson in that team this season. I'm pretty sure there wasn't, which is absolutely bonkers. Usually when a team comes up, they'll sign a few experienced Premier League players. They didn't have any. I think they should be looking at somebody like Jack Cork at Burnley and 1 or 2 others from the relegated teams just to come in and give them that bit more experience going to next season. But yeah, I definitely feel that they deserve their place in the Premier League. Brentford. Ericsson's signing did definitely confirm they stayed up. Without him, maybe they'd have struggled. Possibly they would have struggled to stay up. But once he came in, absolutely dominated pretty much everybody he played with, or played against rather, and just seemed to really enjoy his football, which is all you can ask when you've had a near-death experience like he had. And enjoyment of what you do on a daily basis is more important than probably playing at the top level. So it'll be interesting to see if he stays or goes. But yeah, what did I say? 7 I think for Brentford. Definitely a 7. Palace in 12th. Palace won 11 games, drew 15, lost 12. I'm going to give him a 6.5. The way Vieira came in, what a knobhead he is. Sorry, on the TV behind us we've got Harvey Elliott. What an absolute knobhead. Can't stand the kid. Anyway, let's do wind past him because he irritates the shit out of this lad does. I'm winding backwards just to get off my TV. Get off. I'd rather watch adverts on pause than bloody Harvey Elliott. What a tool. Anyways, Vieira, first job in England. Took over a very old Palace side, shipped out all the deadwood. A lot of older players left. Brought some very good young players who I'd not really heard much about. Gueye from Chelsea, I didn't know hardly anything about. Eze was already there. Michael Elise, what a signing. I know he wasn't a Vieira signing, I think he was already at, or was he? Did Vieira sign him? I can't remember. But what a signing. He's got been getting the best out of the striker who couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo under Hodgson. Not Benteke, the other lad. I can't remember his name. Zaha's pushed on a little bit again this season. Scored against United on the weekend. Who doesn't at the minute? But yeah, they've looked really good. The young lad right back who stepped in to replace Wan-Bissaka has been bloody brilliant. I wish he was at United rather than Wan-Bissaka. But yeah, I really like the job Vieira's done, and trying to kick that fan was just brilliant to see. Yes, kick him. Who was that against now? Who did Palace play against? It was an Everton fan, weren't it? 'Cause Everton stayed up and he tried to kick the fan who got in his face. Well done, Vieira. For that alone, he gets a 10. But the club, I'm going to give 6.5, I think I said. Sounds about right. Okay, next we have... let's have a look. Okay, we have Newcastle in 11th now. They were going down. Under Steve Bruce, they were going down. I felt United should have gone for last summer. Just give him a couple of years. He was brilliant before he got injured. Then you have Guimaraes. I thought it was a risky signing for that sort of money in January. Coming and been brilliant for Newcastle. And who was the other one they brought in? Oh, Chris Wood. Okay, less said about him the better for Newcastle fans' sake. But yeah, anyhow, I was like, what the hell are you bringing him in for? When he came in, I was like, you're going down. What a stupid appointment. I have to eat my hat. I ain't got one available right now, but if I did, I'd eat it right this second. Because he's proved me more wrong. Two things have proved me wrong this season. That was one of them. I'll get into the other one in a bit. On part 2. So, Newcastle, they stayed up comfortably in the end. A lot of people was looking at the end of the season thinking that could be the game of the season, Burnley, Newcastle. But if it was like a relegation fight down to the last day, but it wasn't. And I'm going to give Newcastle a respectable 8 out of 10 from where they was to where they finished. Now, next season, if they finish 11th, I won't be giving them an 8 because I think they're going to spend money and they should finish in the top 10. If they finish outside the top 10, then that'll be a lower score. But right now, they get an 8.